Adventurous kids explore with education and learning what a wild life is in the Everglades. I want to explore the Museum of Discovering Science. What plants do butterflies like? I want to know about Key West Adventurous Kids. Learning and fun. Adventurous Kids!
Today, I'm going to be telling you about Pythagoras. So, typically when you hear Pythagoras, automatically you're probably thinking, oh, I remember learning about that when I learned about triangles in geometry. A squared plus b squared equals c squared. And we'll get to that. But Pythagoras is way cooler than that. So, he was born in Samos, Greece, and while today Pythagoras is regarded as a mathematician, in his day and years after, he was more or less regarded as a philosopher, and he inspired people such as Aristotle and Plato, right? And when we think of philosophy and we think of these big thoughts, we think of those Greek philosophers. Well, they were inspired by Pythagoras. Pythagoras himself never wrote anything down, so historians and philosophers and mathematicians all rely on his followers, the Pythagoreans, for his thoughts. So one of his thoughts and one of his beliefs is that there is a functional significance of numbers in the objective world and in music. His belief and that of his followers was that reality is based in numbers. So he and his followers all believed that you could know and understand the natural world around you if you understood the numbers. And the closer you could get to perfection with the numbers, the closer you could get to God. So there was this myth. This is like one of my favorite stories about Pythagoras. Historians object and say it was probably just a story that people told, right? And it's just a fun story math teachers get to tell today. But when you think about it, if it really happened, it just kind of cracks me up. So Pythagoras and his followers were out on a boat doing Pythagorean things like not eating meat or sticking to very strict and rigid schedules of exercise, and then hours and hours of mathematics. His best student, Hippasus, came to him and basically was like, the square root of -1. Thoughts? And for any of my mathematicians out there, you know that the square root of -1 is an irrational number. And then Pythagoras did something very irrational. When he saw the unraveling before him of his perfect unified theory of math creates everything with the existence of irrational numbers, he threw Hippasus overboard for his disbelief in numbers. There's a really good word for it, and I can't come up with it right now. I think that's one of my favorite Pythagoras stories. He is most famous for laying down the work of geometry. His work is what led to Euclid's work, which is what led to how we understand and know geometry. So getting back to what I said earlier in this episode, where if you've heard the name Pythagoras before, you're thinking of his famous theorem, a squared plus b squared equals c squared. And it's really cool because just as early as just last year, some high school students from a Catholic school in, I believe, Missouri, figured out a way to write a proof. So a proof in math is using math to prove that it's constant and that it's true, right? And there are over 300 proofs of the Pythagorean theorem, all using geometry. What was special about what those 17-year-old girls did is that they were able to prove that the Pythagorean theorem is correct using trigonometry, which had never been done before. Very, very cool. Pythagoras paved the way not just in math, but in fields of philosophy and science as well. He and his contemporaries are a testament to the human mind and ingenuity. Thank you for watching this episode of Adventurous Kids.
What did you learn today?
Adventurous Kids!
Adventurous Kids!
What was the most interesting fact?
Adventurous Kids!
Adventurous Kids!
Adventurous